Welcome back, friends. On my Sitecore Diaries, we are continuing on the topic Sitecore Cache. In last video, we have seen basic of Sitecore Cache. Today, we are going to see in detail of the topic. If you have not watched the last two videos on the caching, then do watch to get the context. I will provide video links at the end of this video. If you are new to the channel and not subscribed, then I will request you to hit the subscribe button and click on notification bell to get the latest update. Before starting today's topic, let me introduce myself. I am Jitendra Ghanekar. I am a Sitecore certified developer. If you want to connect me on my Gmail ID, I have given the Gmail ID on the screen. You can connect me on my LinkedIn. Do follow me on my Instagram ID and also on the Facebook. So let's start more about Sitecore Cache configuration and tuning. So what we are going to see in this video, what's inside this video? First, we will see what are the different configuration initial values, the cache initial values. Then we will see how can to do the tuning of a cache values. Then we will see how we can configure the HTML cache, prefetch cache, item data cache. Then we will see what is access result cache and how we can configure it. Then how to disable the cache size and how to enable the cache indexing, that we will see. Then how to log only a single log when there is an error, so that is log single cache. Then there is something called QueryStringCache, so how to set that QueryStringCache size. Then we will see best caching practices, and at the end we will see few sample codes while using the cache. So let's start the journey. First, configure the initial values. So you have a content delivery servers. On that, what is the initial value which you can set up? The Prepage cache you have, that is for your web database. In the content delivery you can have 1000 MB. Then for a data, that is again that's to a web database, that will be 1000 MB. Then the item cache 1000 MB, HTML cache 200 MB per site, and then access result cache 200 MB. This is the configuration which you can see for the content delivery, the initial values of the cache. And then we have the content management. This is for the your CMS, Prepage cache, data, item cache, all we should be 100 MB. Then you can have access result cache 200 MB. Okay. Now we'll see how to tune this cache, initial cache values. So there are different steps which we need to follow. The first step is set the initial cache values before tuning. So in last slide we have seen the initial cache values which you can have. Okay, so set up those cache values for the by using the patch files. That is the first step. Now the second step will be start a load test that hits all items in all languages. So you can use the different tools for the load testing. So if you talk about what are the things which you will test, first is on the content delivery, we'll see you will test the publish site. So we will do the load testing on the publish site. Whereas for the content management, you will do a testing for the experience editor and the content editor to see basically how much time it takes to load the content tree, to open the item, to update the item, to publish the item. All those data you will collect. Okay. So during this load testing, the third step will be to monitor the cache page. So we have seen the cache page in the last video. So sitecore/admin.cache.xx, that will show you what are the caches and what is the size, what is the delta size. So that details will be given. So specifically, if you want to monitor or concentrate on those caches, in the content delivery server you have to check the web data, then data cache, then item cache, then you have a prepage cache. Whereas content management server you have to see data cache and item cache. Once you get that details, you need to adjust the cache size. Okay, so how will you adjust the cache size? If you see the size of a cache, is greater than 80%, okay, if your size of the cache is greater than 80%, then they increase your size of cache to 25%. So you have used 1000 as your 1000 MB as your cache, and that is getting used, okay, 80 more than 80%, then you need to increase your cache size by 25%. Okay, so that is how the logic should work. Then you, if it is less than 50%, then you have to decrease the size of cache by 25%. Then cache data fluctuates significantly, then increase the size of the cache by 25%. So this is the thumb rule which you can apply on your cache sizing. Okay, if the size of a cache is greater than 80%, then increase the size of a cache to 25%. Size of a cache less than 50%, then decrease the size of a cache by 25%. And data fluctuates significantly, then increase the size of cache or 25%. So you have to do these steps multiple times. Okay, repeat it and see the performance till it get improved. Now, few things to note. On content delivery server, access to the administrative page is normally not available. So you don't have the sitecore/admin.cache.express page. Okay. So Sitecore saves the copy of cache.express page every 10 minutes in the folder app_data diagnostic health monitor. Okay. The name will be something like cache status and the date. Okay. Date timestamp. Okay. So when you want to check the content delivery server's data, then you have to look into this offline page, okay, which will give you the result for the content delivery. A cache is considerable stable when the delta value remains relatively consistent. So there is a, if you see the admin page, you have a delta value there. So that delta value is remains same, then you can say your cache is stable. Significant fluctuation in the cache delta indicate that cache is regularly exceeding max size and being savaged. So that cache fluctuation, the delta fluctuation is a very important. If it is fluctuating, then you need to work on your cache tuning. The maximum amount of a memory that you can assign to cache depends on the amount of a memory available in the system. So you are assigned, so initially we have seen that 100 MB cache you are assigning for some, say, data cache, but all the your how much you can assign, that all depend on how much it is available, what kind of memory available on the server. So you need to consider that also while assigning the caches, the cache size. So okay, so these are the things which you need to take care. These are the steps which you need to follow to cache you tune your Sitecore cache. Now we will see how to configure HTML caches. We have seen a little bit of this thing, HTML cache, the item cache and data cache in last video also. So I will just run through here on these topics. So you have to set up the HTML cache for the website. Okay, so that can be done on the site definition file. So you have to create a patch file here. If you see, this is a patch file which is created for the site. So there are two sites here, website and custom site. So for both this site, we are setting up the HTML cache size at a 300 MB. So this is how you will create a patch file. You have a Sitecore site node, and then you set up the cache HTML cache size. So Sitecore clear caches for all sites you configure with the value of the cache HTML property as true. The publish and event handler is configured in a standard value installation to do so. So on the publish and event, the Sitecore clear caches for the sites for which you have set up it cache HTML as a true. So in last video we have seen, if you set up cache HTML as equal to true, that site will get cached. Okay, and here we are seeing how the cache size is getting updated. If you do not want the cache for a site to be cleared when you publish, you can update the prevent HTML cache clear attribute as true in the site definition file. So you do not want that HTML cache should be get cleared on publishing event. I think that may not be scenario you want to have. Okay, ideally whenever you are making a changes, that should get reflected. But in case you have something like that, then if you want to prevent the HTML cache clear, you want to prevent the cache to be get clear on the publish and event, then you can set prevent HTML cache clear attribute as a true. So here you say set a HTML cache size is 300 MB. Similarly, you can set prevent HTML cache clear as true. Now we will see how to configure prepage cache, item cache, and data cache. Again, we have seen a little bit of this in last video also. Data and item cache. You can create a patch configuration file here. Okay, and in that patch configuration file, you can define the cache size for data and items. So here you see 1000 MB, that is your initial value you can set up. And if you see, those caches are set up on the database level. Okay, you have seen this in last video also. I'm just running through it. Prepage cache. In prepage cache also you can create this kind of a patch file, and you can set up the prepage file for your data provider. Like for master, here we are setting up, and here we are setting up for the weight. So that cache size you can set up. Optimize the prepage cache. So how will you optimize the prepage cache? So if you see here prepage cache, there are some nodes which you will see a template, item, children, and child limit. So those are the things which you can utilize it. So including the most frequently accessed item. Okay, so you can specify which template you want to include. Which item you want to include, which children you want to include, and what is the child limit. So how many number of childs you want to include. Like here you see 100 childs. Okay, so this is the optimizing the prepage cache. So as you know, in last video we have discussed that prepage cache slowdowns your start of the application. Okay, so initially it is getting built, so you do not want to be filled that if you do not want to delay your start of application, then you want to limit the cache size. Okay, cache items. So generally what you do in a prepage cache, which is frequently used item, those you stored in the prepage cache. So you want to configure those items only, those templates only which are frequently used. So you can use a template node here. Then you want to use the item node for an item which you want to do it, and children's, and then you can have a child limit. Child limit means you have an item and how many number of childs you want to cache. Okay, so this is the prepage cache configuration. Disable the initial population of the prepage cache by replacing this is the node where we can replace configuration Sitecore database, data provider, prepage cache elements with a patch delete. If you apply this patch delete, it will disable your prepage caching, and this cache still populate when items are accessed by visitors for which we need to add. Okay, so difference here is with this configuration, what will happen is what was happening is the prepage cache, it is built at the start of the application. So when the application gets started, prepage cache built. But when you disable it, it will do it when visitor try to access the item. Okay, so the you can define the cache size, child limit, and log status in this configuration. So if you see this configuration here, okay, so you have the here we have added the it's a patch file. Okay, data provider parameter. So here prepage file we add a patch delete. Okay, so it will disable the prepage cache. And the second thing is cache still populate when items are accessed by the visitor, where you can add these things. Okay, so now this configuration where we are defining cache size 100 MB, child limit 100, and log status false. So basically what will happen is instead of caching it at the initial time in the start of application, it will start when visitor tries to access those items. Okay, so this is how you can optimize the prepage cache. Now we will see what is access result cache and how to configure it. Each time a user accesses an item or a field, Sitecore resolves and caches that user access rights in the access result cache. A cache entry consists of a key and value and stores the entity, item, or a field, the requested access right, read, write, delete, and so on, the account that requested the access, user or a role. So you must be knowing the roles and permission which is stored on the item of Sitecore. Okay, so what is access result cache? So whenever you are trying to access an item, what it does is Sitecore resolved is whatever the permissions which is applied on that. Okay, and then it store that value, the user access right values, in a cache, and that cache is called as the access result cache. And what does it store in that cache? It store the which item or which field it is what kind of access right is there, that is read, write, delete, and so on, and what is the account, is what role or what a user, that those things are stored. So next time when you try to access the user, it doesn't go to the Sitecore, it directly get the data from the cache. So that is called as a access result cache. So again, you can set up that in the configuration file. So this is a patch and you can have it on this settings. If you see in this patch file, we have applied the role, a standalone, content delivery, or content management. All these roles we want to apply the cache access result cache size, and the value of that access size, the cache size will be 200 MB. So it's a simple patch which we can apply and which will store the access result cache. And access result cache is something where it stores the roles and permissions in the cache. Now we will see how to disable cache size, enable cache key indexing. What I mean by a disable cache size is, if you do not want to utilize whatever the cache size you are applied, so how will you do that, and how will you enable the cache key indexing? So how will you index the cache? Okay, which will again speed up your application. First, we'll see disable the cache size limit. If you want to take advantage of available memory, and then we can disable the cache size limit. What does it mean is, you have a lot of memory in your server, then you want to utilize that memory, then you can disable the maximum memory, then you can disable the cache size. Okay. If the cache memory uses exceed available memory, the application will crash and throw an out of memory exception. Okay. So this is the disadvantage of doing this. If you are not applied the cache limit, okay, it means you are asking the application to manage to cache, manage the memory, whatever available. So there is no limit on the cache size. So what will happen? It may reach to that point where your memory will get exceed, and then your application will get crashed. So how we can do that? Again, you have to set up a patch file, and it is also in the settings. So in the settings, you have a parameter caching.disable cache size limit. You have to set it as a true to disable the cache size. So this is how you can limit it. We have to do it very carefully. I think I will not advise to do that. Okay, because we don't have the control in that case, because it will crash anytime whenever the memory will get exceed. Now the next thing is enable the cache key indexing. The cache key indexing can significantly reduce the time it takes to perform the operation on the large cache, and it is particularly useful in the large solution where items are frequently renamed, moved, copied, and deleted. Cache key indexing is available for the following caches: access result cache, item cache, item path cache, and paths cache. So what is basically a cache indexing? It is an indexing of your cache. Okay, so if you have a large caches, okay, then see why we are using a cache to improve your performance of the website. Okay, but that cache itself is too large, and you are trying to access any item in that cache, it will also get delayed. So you want to optimize that also, then you can go for a cache indexing. And what are the things which you can use here? Cache indexing, you can use a access result cache, item path cache, and path cache. So for that, you have to set up a settings here. Again, in the setting file, like you have a 4 caches, okay, which you want to enable: access result cache, item path cache, or path cache. It will get it will get enabled, and you can use a indexing for your cache. Now log signal cache. This is also very interesting topic. Sitecore uses the log single cache to prevent a repeating error message in the log. What do you mean by repeating error? So assume that there might be an item which is throwing an access, okay, throwing in some error, okay, and you try to access this again and again, the error is coming again and again, okay. So it is a repeating error in the logs, okay. So that is called as a repeating error. To avoid that, you can have it only single error, okay. For that you can use this cache. So if you want to use that, then you have to again create a setting, caching.small size cache 200 KB. This way it will avoid that to log the error again and again. This cache uses the value of the caching small cache size configuration, setting the value to specific the cache size. By default, the setting is not present in the configuration. So by default, there is no such cache setting, but you can add it by patching the configuration, specify the value in the setting mode. So this is your patch file. Okay, so you can add that patch file. The default size is 200 KB. An error message is only logged once instead of message being logged for each request. There is no data loss as additional log messages are logged again if the cache no longer contains the same message. So as I explained earlier, that if there is an error, okay, then it get logged there, and when next time also you get a text request, also you are getting the same error, it will not log the error. Okay, but that error is removed from the cache and then you are getting the error, again it will get logged. So the next topic is the query string caches. Query string caches when Sitecore parse the query string. So we have a query string, right? So it uses when your Sitecore parse the query string. The default size is 100 KB. So again, you have it in the site setting. So you have a caching tiny cache size item. Okay, 100 KB. Okay. Now we will see caching best practices. So there are some rules which we should be following. The first rule: do not cache everything in Sitecore. This can make website heavy and make impact the business publishing performance. So as you understand that cache can improve your performance, right? So it doesn't mean that you have to cache everything. Okay, it has a other impact also. So when you cache the everything, what will happen when you do the publishing? Okay, so when you do the publishing, you need to clear the cache. So if you have a lot of item or a large cache, then it will take a time to publish it, right? Because it need to clear the cache and then you need to again set up the cache. Okay, so that will take a time. So it will impact the publishing performance. So this is not a good idea to do everything, to cache everything in this Sitecore. You have to think, and logically you have to apply the caching to the items which are frequently used. Sitecore cache should depend on content, so make sure you are clearing the cache after publish. So in first point we see that public may impact the publishing performance. So then you will say that you will not clear the cache of the publishing, but that will not help for the business. Okay, so business are setting up some content, authors are creating some content, updating the content. So if your cache is not clear, it will always show a old data to the user, and that is not where you are expecting. So as a user, you should be clearing the cache because after publish, because the content which should be updated, which should be displayed, should be latest. Proper cache tuning should be applied on the both Sitecore CM and CD server. So in this second slide, I've shown you what are the different steps where you can perform for a cache tuning. You have to first set the initial value. Okay, then you have to run the load testing. You have to see what are the values, what are the timing which you are getting in the load testing for the CMS as well as the CD side. Okay, you can monitor the cache configuration file and just adjust your caches to get the best result. So you have to do the caching, and it should be done at regular basis. The combined size of a caches in configuration cannot exceed the amount of available system memory. So this is the thumb rule, that whatever the caches you are applying, right, the number of whatever the caches you are applying size, so total of that cache size can't be greater than available memory on the server, right? So you need to manage that. It cannot exceed your available memory. Otherwise, it will crash. The application will crash if your memory exceeded or cache exceeded. So these are the few pointers or few thumb rules which you should be take care when you are using the cache. Now I will give you some sample code if you are using the program automatically. We are using any cache Sitecore in the Sitecore application. How to use that? Okay, these are the basic sample code. First, if you want to create a new cache, you have to use the Sitecore.caching namespace. Okay, so you can create like this, where you can give the test is basically your cache name and 1024 is size of the cache. This is how you can define the Sitecore cache. Referencing the cache. How will you reference the cache? You have to use the cache manager here. Okay, so sitecore.caching.cache manager. It has a method called find cache by name. Okay, so it will allow you to find the cache by using its name. So name is what you have given here, right? Test is the name. So that from that test you can find the cache. Adding a value to the cache. Now, how will you add the value to the cache? Here you define the cache here, test at the side. Now, how you want to add the cache? The first thing is use the cache manager and find the cache. Okay, that is this thing that wants the cache. And now, if you want to add it, myCache.add, where your name is your cache name and the value. Name and value pair will be need to be added. Reading a value from the cache. How will you read the value from the cache? Again, you have to use the cache manager. So first of all, you have to find the cache by using the cache manager, and then the get value method will give you the value of that cache. Okay, so simplest code. Removing a value from the cache. If you want to remove the value from your existing cache, then how will you do it? The first step is always, first of all, find the cache. Okay, by using find cache by name, and then dot remove will remove your cache. Clearing the cache. How will you clear the cache? If you want to programmatically clear the cache, then again, first of all, you have to find the cache by using the cache manager, and then dot clear method will clear the cache. That is all for today. If you found this video helpful, do give thumbs up and upload the video. If you are new to the channel, and then do hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss out any of my videos. Thank you. Thanks for watching.